Today's review is for Zombieland Double Tap, the long-awaited sequel to Zombieland, once again starring Woody Harrelson, Jesse Eisenberg, Emma Stone, and Abigail Breslin, and once again directed by Ruben Fleischer, and takes place 10 years after the first movie, with Columbus, Tallahassee, Wichita, and Little Rock moving to the American heartland as they face off against newly evolved zombies, meet up with fellow survivors, and face the growing pains of the snarky makeshift family. Now look, as a big fan of the first movie, I was really looking forward to the sequel. Sure, I was a bit worried that we'd probably end up with another Zoolander 2, but I had my hopes that this could be a long-awaited sequel that could surely enough bring back that same magic as its predecessor. I mean, I got really excited by the title alone, Zombieland Double Tap, an obvious reference to the second rule on Columbus's list of zombie survival rules. That is a perfect subtitle. Oh, now, of course, I'm kind of late to review the movie. It came out last week, but hey, sometimes you gotta make sacrifices. Now, I have finally seen the movie, and I'm ready to give you guys my thoughts on it. And I can safely say that it was not a terrible sequel. But I unfortunately would not say it was as good as the first movie. In fact, I was kind of disappointed by it. Double Tap was not really as fun or as interesting as the first film. It doesn't really have much nuance to it. It was mostly just a bunch of cool action, countless callbacks, and, well, just didn't really live up to what I wanted from a Zombieland sequel. Now, that's not to say there's nothing to like about it. I said it was disappointing, not bad, because I actually do have quite enough positives to mention, and I'm about to list all of my positives for you right now. First off, the main cast returning from the first movie. They were all great in reprising their roles. They of course continue the romance between Columbus and Wichita from the end of the first movie, and I actually really enjoyed some of the little love moments they shared together. They had okay chemistry, and for what it wasn't bad. Tallahassee is the same crazy badass from the first movie, and I even like how they actually tried to make him want to be somewhat of a parental figure to Little Rock. It was actually kind of cute in a funny way, and even made for an admittedly pretty decent payoff at the end of the movie, which I actually found to be pretty clever. They were all easily the best part of this whole movie, and they definitely saved the movie from being a major letdown. Also, I liked how they actually tried to give us some pretty cool new evolved zombies. There are zombies that are big, dumb, and slow that they call homers. You have zombies that can actually come up with ideas and getting to their prey, which they call Hawkings. And you even have zombies that actually sneak up on their prey like ninjas. And they call them ninjas. It was pretty cool how they did that. And also, sure, the action is a lot of fun. I mean, it's not really as genuinely intense as it was in the first movie, but it was pretty awesome to just watch some guy run over a bunch of zombies with a tractor. And overall, the action, yeah, it's fun. And, okay, well, actually, no, that's pretty much it. Everything else is just kind of dull and uninteresting. The film also introduces some new characters to add to the gang of survivors, and that can sound like a good idea, like adding more members to the Avengers. But here, I didn't really care much about these new characters at all. I mean, okay, there was one new character in this movie I did kind of like, and that was Nevada, played by Rosario Dawson. Like, she had this one pretty cute scene where she and Tallahassee share their love for Elvis, and yeah, also she's a pretty badass new addition to the team. I like her, but everyone else, I just didn't. But most of all, with this girl named Madison that they find, played by Zoe Dutch. I can't, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the actress's name wrong, but anyways, I really did not like this character. In fact, if I'm being honest, I'd say that she was the worst character in this entire movie. Why? Because she was just so annoying. Like, she didn't go one scene without acting like a 3-year-old. But even a 3-year-old kid wouldn't be as annoying as her. And that's not even the only reason I hated her so much. Like, at one point in the film, she actually makes this loud sound that attracts some zombies to come after our lead heroes. That was horrible. Granted, it did lead to a pretty awesome fight scene. However, she also ruins that fight scene briefly because she's just screaming and screaming like a kid, and all she does is pepper spray one of the zombies with a can. Was that what it was? I don't know. And I don't care because she sucked. I hated this character. I mean, she makes Ruby Rhod from The Fifth Element look sophisticated. Like, I'm impressed. Also, there's this guy named Berkeley, played by Avi Njoga. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing his name wrong too. And I honestly can't really think of too much to say about him because he's just really bland. Like, he's from this place where a bunch of pacifists hide from zombies and prohibit guns, and he likes Little Rock and whatever. I didn't care about this guy. He was just nothing to me. And also, there are these two other characters whose scene was actually an ending highlight in the first trailer. And of course, they're the doppelgangers of Tallahassee and Columbus. Albuquerque, played by Luke Wilson, and Flagstaff, played by Thomas Middleditch. But they served very little to the plot and weren't even in the film very long. Like, and they're in the last half of the second act, and then they're gone. I'm not going to say what happens to them because, well, I don't want to spoil it. I still don't, even though I didn't exactly like this movie that much, I still don't want to spoil it for anyone who will enjoy it, surely. But whatever, I didn't care. And also, the film does what surely you'd expect any long-awaited sequel to do. It constantly makes callbacks to the first movie. And when I say that, I don't mean that when they quoted Columbus's rules, it was bad. I mean, those parts I was fine with because the first movie did that to itself all the time, so it makes sense the sequel would do that. That I'm fine with. But they also try to requote a whole bunch of other memorable quotes in the first movie besides all the rules. Like in one scene, Tallahassee requotes the "Thank God for Rednecks" quote again. Now, it wasn't bad whenever they did this, but it's just kind of lame when sequels think that all they need to do to be a great sequel is to say these quotes again. It's like the Predator movies. They constantly reuse quotes like, "Get to the chopper," and "What the hell are you?" over and over again, and it's just tiring. Seriously, stop at least once. And also, the final issue I have with the movie is that, well, you see, there's this big final battle that happens at the end of the movie, but the reason it happens is actually the same reason the final battle at Pacific Playland happened at the end of the first movie. Because zombies got attracted to a loud noise and flashy lights. In the first movie, it was carnival rides. In this movie, it's fireworks. I mean, they really couldn't just think of a more creative way for a big zombie battle to happen? Come on. I mean, this didn't make me angry, but I just wish they could have done something a bit more differentiated than this. So yeah, Zombieland Double Tap is not exactly what I would call a worthy sequel. Now, I mean, again, it's not completely hopeless. There is enjoyment to be had. The main cast is as great as they all were before. It gave us some pretty cool new types of zombies, and the zombie fight scenes are a lot of fun. But it just kind of feels like that was all they ever put their effort into. Everything else is just a bunch of predictableness. Again, it's not a terrible movie. It's just a disappointing movie. I mean, I'm happy to say that it didn't end up being like Super Troopers 2 all over again. I mean, this movie looks like Spider-Man 2 compared to those films. It's like Kingsman: The Golden Circle, okay? Not bad, but not very bright either. Short, sweet, and to the point. I'm gonna give Zombieland Double Tap a 4 out of 10. I, of course, prefer the first movie over this. That film was great. This film just wasn't. But even though I am sad to say that, I'm still happier to have not hated it. I'm thankful for that at least. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'll see you next time, and